Welcome to Diving Deeper with the Real American Road Trip, where we get to share with you some additional content from our trips across the country. In this episode, I sit down with Chef Dave Snyder.
Can y'all smell that?
He's a world-famous chef, he's a fly fisherman, he's got a great personality that you're not going to want to miss. Check it out, let me know what you think below, and if you like this content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you won't miss the next one. So it's the afternoon of day 2 here in Montana. We're right here at Varney Bridge on the Madison overlooking it. You know, it's been a hell of a day, but one of the cool things about this is just meeting interesting people. And J Mac,
yes, sir.
How about you introduce your friend here? It's kind of a surprise that we met him here.
Well, I knew he was out here somewhere, and I found him. Dave Snyder, who I've known for many years, living in St. Simons Island, Georgia, and I called him up and I said, "Hey, man, you want to come fishing?" And we've spent a day today. It's been awesome.
So you're a Georgia boy.
I am. I'm more a saltwater guy, so I'm a little out of sorts myself.
But that's okay. You're still a Georgia boy. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
I'm a restaurant guy.
Yeah.
Down on St. Simons, we've got 3 restaurants. We got a little taco joint. We got Tremici and Halyards, and we're very lucky, and it gives me time to fish.
Absolutely. So that's just so cool that he's here. You know, totally didn't expect to meet him here like that.
Right.
Just, you know, he showed up.
Well, he's holding back a little because I know Dave, and he's done some really good. Where do you like to fish?
Well, fish around St. Simons all the time. I mean, red fishing and
saltwater
tarpon.
guy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I love to go over to Panhandle, you know, whether it be Lanark or Mexico Beach or Port St. Joe. I love going to that part, you know.
Yeah,
and Mexico Beach still struggling from the hurricane.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're bouncing back. I mean, they've got a great energy that people are just bouncing off of, and they'll be back.
Port St. Joe, that bay, just beautiful. Great fishing.
Amazing. And Black Island right in the middle of it.
It is.
Oh,
yeah.
In fact, you guys are going down there soon to do that.
I can't wait for that one.
One of the cool things Dave did, among many times he's done this, is talk about the hurricane and what your team did and all that.
Well, we're friends with the fishing community down there after fishing there for a bunch of years. So when that hurricane went through, when Michael went through, we showed up on Monday and we fed people for about 6 weeks. All the locals
is absolutely
and all.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I wish you would have been there.
Yeah.
I mean, just getting to know the locals and what they were going through was amazing. It was really amazing.
What brings you to Montana?
I mean, I'm like you. Look at this. I mean, this is amazing, right? You know, and it's so hard.
Yeah, you're out of your comfort zone though.
I have no idea what I'm.
You're just like me. So I mean, that's it. But what have you experienced so far?
Great people, great culture, but the fishing is just so radically different. I'm used to having tension on the line, you know, when we're stripping,
right?
Whether we're chasing reds or tarpon or whatever. And then you come out here and you have to have, you know, you've got to have some flex in the line. You got to have that slack to make sure the fly is running great. So. Heck, I slipped and fell today in the water. I mean, at least felt good.
All right, so one of the things, you know, coming up here, I'm a bass guy.
Right.
You know, we fish a certain way, and even this morning, I found myself kind of, you know, resorting back to the bass stuff.
Old habits?
Old habits, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to feel it, you know, the slack. It's totally new to me.
Isn't that weird?
Now, it is, and it's hard. It's a totally different game. Now, you're from saltwater.
Right.
So kind of explain a little bit to me the differences between fly fishing in saltwater and then getting out of here on a river like this for trout.
Well, the biggest thing for us is, you know, whether we're fishing trout or redfish, or if you get lucky to go for bones or something, or stripers, whatever, you're stripping the line, right?
Okay.
And it's a strip set. So you're pulling straight back.
So you don't have the tension. You don't have the slack, I guess.
We don't have the slack.
Yeah.
And here you have to have the slack in the line so that the fly is floating naturally with the current and looks like it's just a part of the water system.
Right.
So you have slack in the line to make it happen, and then all of a sudden, rather than a strip set, you've got to do a trout set, which is completely the wrong thing to do in saltwater. So it's just radically different.
Yeah.
And when we come out here, we've got to break old habits just like bass guys like you. It's just completely different.
Well, even saltwater, you're stripped, boom, with the rod, one left, right. I mean, it's combat fishing.
Yeah.
You're right. Here, though, a little different dynamic.
Oh, and it's
a lot different. He set me out in the backyard, and he was just trying to teach me just the basic cast. And I'm finding, you know, we use our wrist, you know, in the back. You know, we're flipping, we're using our wrist, and he's like, you know, try to keep your wrist stiff, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I found that very hard once I got on the water. What's the hardest thing you've experienced so far, you know, the habits from saltwater into trout fishing?
It's the lines. I have a hard time feeling on my back cast. I have a hard time feeling the load, right? You've got to load that rod, get all that energy in there, so when you go forward on your forecast, you're shooting the line. Now, you don't have to shoot it far here, right? That's great. You know, you're not shooting 70 feet, 50 feet. You're only shooting 20 or 30.
Right.
But I have a hard time feeling that load. And, you know, with my clumsy hands, I have a hard time feeling this thin
I know.
line.
It's insane. Like, I can't even see it half the time, you know. And John's over here tying a fly, and I'm like, I don't even, it almost looks like it's invisible, the line is, you know. So the eyesight, you know, you say 20 to 30 feet here cast, you're making 70, you know, in saltwater. What are you normally going after?
Or lakes here.
Lakes.
Yeah.
What do you normally fish for like in saltwater?
Well, back in St. Simons, it's, you know, it's redfish. This, you know, we're very lucky that the ecosystem has tarpon in the summer.
Yeah.
You got redfish in the winter. You got redfish in the flood tides. We're blind casting for trout, which is really great. But it's all that strip set, and it's all heavier lines. And so for us, it's just really strange.
You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like we need to go to St. Simons.
Man.
Definitely want to get down to St. Simons. But how did you two guys meet? Now, aren't you from St. Simons?
Yeah, my wife and I met there. I've got kids. They went to high school, the whole deal. Lived there 15 years. Grew up going down there, though.
Yeah.
And right away, you know, we're both in the same business. We met pretty quickly and became quick friends, and it's not hard to do on an island. And,
Right.
And so we've fished in Sun Valley, Idaho, certainly down there. He's got a great boat, by the way. And he'll go out and catch fish and cook it in his restaurant at night.
Oh, tell me
It's
about
just
that.
awesome.
Tell me about that.
Well, you know, I've got a commercial license, so we'll harvest maybe flounder, some trout. We won't harvest redfish.
Right.
But no, I mean, we invite people to come back to the restaurant. We sit at the chef's table, just like this, in the kitchen, and we'll fillet what they caught right in front of the guest.
Really?
And then right in front of the guest is the stove, which would be right behind me. And as a guest, you get to watch your dinner cooked for you when you caught that fish 8 hours earlier.
So basically,
Yeah, so
it's
cool.
showing you preparing it, all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is totally cool. Now, if we were so lucky to get down to St. Simons with you, what kind of fishing would we really expect? What would you go after? Say, let's just say December of this year, kind of that stuff.
December would-
wintertime fishing. How's that?
We would go low water redfish.
Redfish.
We go for low water side casting. They bunch up in the schools when it gets
Tailing-
cold.
tailing
And they're
redfish,
tailing
nothing
and they're pushing wakes.
What is tailing? I don't know what tailing is.
So the mouth of the redfish is towards the bottom of the
so
head.
it's right here, yeah.
And when it goes down to eat in shallow water, the tail comes out of the water and you see the
So
tail.
you're sight fishing.
Yep,
You're sight fishing with a fly rod.
with a fly rod. So we get you on the bottom.
tides, and it's a lot of drama.
So
Yeah.
What are you actually casting at them? I mean, what kind of fly does a redfish eat? Or is it something a little different?
Mostly a shrimp or a crab pattern, mostly shrimp patterns.
Okay, so
dark
so
colors,
You're
'cause
still matching the hatch. Ain't that what you like to say? You
got
match
it.
the hatch.
Yeah.
So you're matching the hatch just with saltwater, same
Yeah,
thing.
Exactly. We go for shrimp, usually dark colors because it's pretty muddy water, so they got to see it.
Man, that sounds like we need to do that.
Yeah,
That's
and then we'll end up at his place.
And you'll cook it for us.
Amen.
That sounds like a trip and all that. So I tell you what. So we're going to get in the river here too. This afternoon, got a little cloud cover, a little bit different than when we fished this morning. So
Yeah.
is that going to change how we're fishing?
Absolutely.
How?
I think we need to change something
Yeah.
because we're not catching anything.
No doubt, no
Well,
doubt.
the caddis will start coming out in a little bit, so we'll
Yeah.
go to caddis on
A little
top.
cooler air.
When you say caddis, again, you're talking to Georgia boy here. What are we
Bug.
talking?
It's
Bug.
bug.
Okay, we got bugs coming. up.
Bug, like 7-syllable bug.
See the
We got a
bugs
bug.
that just kind of float around, and you've seen them in the south. You know, they're
Well,
just
listen, I get up here and I hear this, the hatch, and I'm like, I don't know what in the hell they're talking about.
that's right.
So you simplified it for me. The bugs are going to come up.
Different bugs going to come out. You have mayflies in the morning, you got caddis at night. So the caddis are going to come out here in a little bit. We start putting caddis on top, and hopefully we get them to rise. Now, when you and I go tarpon fishing on St. Simons or in Port St. Joe or Mexico Beach,
I like how he's talking. When do we go?
Yeah.
When do we go?
tarpon roll. But
Okay.
when you're fly fishing in water like this, the fish rise.
Gotcha.
It's the same thing, but it's a different name.
that's right.
It's like bobber and indicator.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, you know, apparently, trout guys use indicators, and we Georgia boys like to use bobbers.
Bobbers,
So,
yeah.
So there's a difference in a rise and a
Tarpon rolls.
tarpon rolls
Yes,
like
sir.
that. You know, I guess, you know, the best thing now is just to get our butts in the water and see what we can do. So being in the restaurant business, tell me a little bit about your restaurants.
Well, in a small market, we've got 3 very different concepts.
And this is all on St. Simons?
Yeah, all in
all right,
St.
all right,
Simons.
yeah.
They're all on the north end of the island. We got La Plancha, cool little taco joint. Just go grab a cool ass margarita and a couple tacos.
That's my kind of food right
Is
there.
it right there?
Oh, yes.
Did I have you at Margarita?
You had me at taco.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you had me at taco. But margarita's a nice addition, but you had me at taco.
And then we got an Italian joint called Tremici, pizzas, pastas, big open kitchen, a lot of fun. And then Halyards is our oldest restaurant, and it's a seafood place, a little bit finer dining.
Okay.
So yeah, you can check out all three. In fact, when we go catch flounder in the
love
morning,
how
right?
I love how you say
When
that.
we catch flounder,
we catch.
you can go and have your flounder prepared in a taco. You can have it prepared into a pasta or risotto, or you can have it prepared right in the center of the plate at the other restaurant.
What kind of taco does a flounder make? Is that good stuff?
I give you a charred pineapple salsa with it.
I like it. I like it. You got me caught right there. So, do you own a place up here, or are you just visiting?
No, we got a place up here. We're very lucky to spend time here.
Okay.
It's just a great, different environment, and it's a great balance from Southeast Georgia.
Oh, absolutely. So we're here. We're just outside of Ennis. Where exactly do you live?
We got a place in Bozeman.
Bozeman. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Super great community, super friendly people. The food scene's amazing. The farmers markets are amazing. It's a cool joint.
It is. Now, you mentioned farmers market. I just want to ask, like, in your restaurants there at St. Simon's, do you actually use any of the local source food or anything like that? Like, with the agriculture and all that?
Absolutely. We got a couple farmers out of Waycross. We got a couple in Brunswick. There's a really well-known local that's got a bigger farm that's getting bigger and bigger, and we're getting stuff from them too. And heck, we got a guy in Brunswick who's growing mushrooms in a trailer.
Oh, that's cool.
And they're blue oysters and lion's manes, and it's really great that the food scene in St. Simon's is getting a little stronger too.
You had me at mushrooms too. I absolutely love
Mushrooms and taco, huh?
Mushrooms. Listen. Look at me. I don't turn too many things down when it comes to food.
You
like
and me
that.
both.
But I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. Not only to go when we go catch. I like how you say it. When we go catch, but when you cook it for me, I think that's going to be absolutely awesome. So, but
Dave does a lot of catering too. We talked about.
You cater.
Yeah, we got a full catering team.
Yeah.
All right, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, our biggest week of the year is catering up in Augusta, up closer to you.
You do the Masters?
We do the Masters.
Really? I'm not a great golf guy, but I watch the Masters every year. That is the only golf tournament I will watch.
We don't get to the golf course, but it's the bulk of our business. We got some good players that hire us, and we've got some companies that pay us to go
When
up
you
there.
say hire us, you work for the individual golfer.
Yeah, we go to 6 or 7 homes and feed the players. 2 of them are big time fishermen too now. I get them on the boat and we have a good time.
Can you name drop the fishermen? I don't need to know.
Probably should.
Oh, come on.
I know.
How about this? Like, bring them down to St. Simon's when I come. Just say, hey, let's meet
So
up.
if they just all of a sudden show up on the bow of the boat?
Just like you showed
I
up
think
here.
they live down there, by the way.
Really?
Just
Yeah, it's a golfing community.
Okay. So, but you cater to the golfers, and then I'm sure you do other things as well.
Yeah,
with
we
the
do a
catering
bunch of
business.
weddings. We do a bunch of special events. We got the Shrimp and Grit Festival on Jekyll
that's a lot
coming
of
up in
fun.
November. That's a lot of fun. You got the RSM Classic coming up
All
in
right,
November.
Again, you had me at Shrimp and Grits. Right there. All right, listen, we're going to hang out with this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we fished this morning.
Right.
All right, and again, I struggled. Now, one of the things that I found on this river that was so different than anything I fished, number one, the current, the speed of the current.
Right.
Number two, I kind of back into my bass world, wanting to feel it, letting the line get really tight and all that. So, how would you instruct me, maybe some things that I can do to kind of be a little bit better on this afternoon trip?
Well, the biggest thing is throw that bug up current.
Right, and I wasn't doing that.
Right. Throw it up current so as it floats down, it looks like it's just a floating dead bug on top of the water. And that's going to make it more natural, right?
Yeah, and if you're fishing below, still similar. You want a natural float, and that requires a lot of mending and observing the current, of course, the wind, which we have a lot today. Every single minute, there's a microclimate that you have to deal with.
Yeah, one of the things that I really struggled with was the mend.
Yeah.
That was definitely, I noticed that when my hopper hit the top of the water, it was just shooting down.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know the dropper, we had a dropper tied on, and I know it's behind it, but I'm like, it's going so fast that in my mind, I was like, I wanted to slow it down, which is why I, went back to my bass world and like, let's just let the line go downstream and just kind of feel it. I honestly was like, I'm waiting for a bass to hit. This is no lie. I was like, give me that thump.
It'll be a long morning.
Well, it was.
Oh, it was a long
Listen, it was because I'm like, I didn't get a bite, but I was like, I got stuck. You know, you get into the habits.
Yeah, we'll change your habit. We'll change the fly. Maybe go to a caddis.
Yep. Something
You
different.
know, the sun's starting to set. The caddis are going to start popping out. Match the hatch.
I've said it a bunch. You will catch fish in spite of yourself. And it
Which
really is true.
Listen, that's a challenge.
Let's not overcomplicate this. It is complicated, but let's not overcomplicate
Right,
it.
exactly.
It's to be fun, enjoyable. You're out here. Don't stop to look at. Don't forget to look around.
Yeah, and you
this
got
beauty.
bald eagles flying
Look
around.
at this bald eagle.
I know.
She
All
did go
kinds of
down.
stuff
She
going
did
It
on.
is
hit it.
amazing, but I want to catch a fish.
All right, amen.
Okay, like
Amen.
I want to catch fish. One of the things about Montana that I've noticed,
Mm-hmm.
and again, I'm not used to this. Number one, it's hot. We're really hot here the first couple of days.
Not normally.
Not
Just
normal,
is right
it's
now.
but it is.
abnormal.
September,
Abnormal.
97 degrees today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but it was like a 50-degree drop, you know, from the first night we were here that
60.
morning. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then today it was really hot, but that was this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've got, I guess, a front coming through. We got a lot of wind this afternoon.
Yep.
And then the next few days, you know, we're going to be high 70 one day, high 60 in the 60s, lows in the 30s,
Right.
which is crazy to me that they can be such a great change. But how is that going to change the way we approach going for trout?
Well, I think the trout are going to be happier in cooler water. They don't like the blasting sun. They don't like the heat either. That should pick up the bite, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, they're not really looking for us, but there's a lot of things that happen, especially brightness. They're naturally afraid of osprey and eagles. And when we're casting and not doing such a good job of it, we kind of replicate what maybe a bird coming down would do. There's just a lot of things we're already fighting. Weather is not needed. We don't need weather to be one of them, but that's the way it is on the Madison
Well,
Valley all the
that's
time.
Montana. It's windy
That
here.
is-
It's just
it's-
windy here.
It
That's part of
is
it.
windy. Now, I got one more question. I'm sitting out in the middle of the river. This is what I did this morning. And I'm trying to cast towards the banks and all that. Am I missing opportunities like near me? Like within 10
Well-
feet of me, there's got to be fish in
Well,
there.
don't you do pattern fishing and bass fishing?
I do, but this is totally
Very
different.
good point.
So
this is different.
When you get to the water, start with the water closest to you. Then start working your way out. Because if you start throwing 30 feet away from you to start, you could be throwing 8 over fish, and the fly line will spook the fish.
Right.
So work the water closer to you first, so you're not spooking fish, and work your way out so that the fly line doesn't spook fish by going over it.
How much am I spooking fish by going across it?
You are.
Spooking all of them.
Yep. It's noisy.
But you know what? They're used to it. They're used to
Noisy?
boats.
It's noisy.
It's noisy. They're used to boats. They settle down quickly. Find your place. Keep working it. Be systematic about it. But just have fun.
Yeah.
You'll catch it in the least likely time you really thought. I've had it where I've done everything wrong and still caught a fish.
How much time though do you give to let's say if I wade out right now and I go 5-10 feet out and I start, you know, doing the closer like you said, before I go to the farther out, how much time do you give it before you make the adjustment to go farther out?
I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes, then maybe change the fly, because maybe they just don't like the fly. Maybe you have the wrong fly on.
Right. Maybe you don't have a fly on at all.
Now listen, smart ass here.
You were casting
listen,
20
or
times
experience.
beautifully, I might add.
You could say
and you
that.
didn't
I don't
have a
know what
fly
the
on.
difference between smart ass and experience is, but there is. Okay. First time I've ever thrown a dropper. Hopper and a dropper.
Hopper and dropper.
Hopper and
Hopper and
dropper.
dropper.
And I pulled it up and I noticed that my dropper had tied just a crazy
You
knot.
were knitting a sweater.
I was
basically.
knitting. And it was
Cold.
bad. It is
That's
cold.
cold,
It is-
J-Mac.
Listen,
Yeah.
it's cold, but it's the truth. All right. So I looked at this knot and I said, all right, well, hell with it. You know, he was like, you were 200 yards, 300 yards down the river and everything. I said, I'm just going to keep throwing it. And all of a sudden, I'm like, this just doesn't feel right. And I look up and I ain't got a damn thing
Nothing.
on the line. No, it's all gone. So I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
but
But you
anyway,
look good.
That's all that matters.
You look good.
Were you
look
having
good
fun?
and I was having fun.
See?
Now that is the great
And that's
thing
to
about
John's
it.
point. You're out here to have fun.
I look like a fool, but I am having fun.
The best
This is
time
great.
to sit down on the side of the bank and look at the mountains is when you don't have a fly on your line, and you know you're wasting your time anyway. So go do something
I should
fun.
have done that. But listen, I love you guys, but my ass wants to get in the water.
All right, let's go to the water.
Hey,
then.
let's do some fishing. This is really good time, Sam.